On a silent night, a strangely shaped alien suddenly knocked on the girl's door, intending to take her away for research. Helpless and alone, she must find a way to escape its pursuit. The young girl, Adams, lived by herself on the edge of a small town. On the anniversary of her mother's death, she carefully chose an obviously outdated dress and then carried a bouquet to visit her mother's grave. When she left the house, Adams noticed a strange circle on the lawn at her doorstep, but without giving it much thought, she simply watered the grass and went on her way. In this town, Adams was like an invisible person. Everyone she met acted as if she did not exist, and some even cast looks of disgust at her. Adams' only friend was a girl named Maud, but she died in an accident at the age of 12. As Adams left the cemetery, she ran into Maud's parents and instinctively hid, as if afraid they might see her, clearly revealing the tension between them. Back home, Adams followed her routine of writing letters to the deceased Maud, describing her life as wonderfully happy, with the townspeople being warm and kind, and everyone she met smiling and greeting her. At the end of the letter, Adams apologized to Maud, confessing that she could never forgive herself. At night, the light in Adams' room suddenly turned on, accompanied by the sound of music from the record player, which felt especially eerie in the silence. After a while, the light went out, the music stopped, and a loud banging suddenly came from the door downstairs. Jolted awake from her sleep, Adams stepped out of her room to check, only to find that the power in the house had gone out, and once again, strange noises echoed from below. Through the pale moonlight, she could vaguely see a figure standing outside that was clearly not human. Though gripped by fear, Adams forced herself to remain as rational as possible. She quickly took off her shoes and dashed back to her bedroom to hide. Despite being as cautious as possible, she still made a noise while hiding, and the intruder followed the sound. It opened the door, revealing an alien that looked all too familiar. Adams carefully squeezed herself under the bed, and through the narrow gaps between the frame and the floor, she saw a pair of gray-green feet pacing back and forth right in front of her. After searching in vain, the alien climbed out through the window. Hearing that the noise downstairs had stopped, Adams hurriedly got up and pulled the curtains tightly shut. She then picked up a homemade weapon and stepped out of her room, only to find the hallway completely empty with no one in sight. Just as Adams breathed a sigh of relief, strange noises came from the roof. Clearly, the alien had never left the house at all. Ignoring her fear, she rushed downstairs to lock the door, but the moment she shut it, the lights in the room flickered back on, accompanied by that same familiar song. Terrified, Adams yanked the power cord out, then grabbed the phone to call the police, only to hear a piercing static noise coming through the receiver. The noise gave Adams a splitting headache, and soon the refrigerator began opening and closing on its own. Instinctively, she wanted to run upstairs, but by then the alien was already descending the staircase. Seeing this, Adams had no choice but to shrink into the corner between the fridge and the counter, yet the alien had already detected her presence. Under its control, the fridge door fused tightly with the counter, trapping Adams in the corner with no way to move. Before she could react, a pair of large gray-green hands slowly crept up over the refrigerator door. The alien finally revealed its true face, the very image of the extraterrestrials everyone knows so well. Overwhelmed by terror, Adams erupted in desperation, summoning all her strength to shove the refrigerator door open before sprinting toward the exit. Just as she was about to reach the doorway, the alien exerted its power again, slamming the door shut and knocking her to the ground. Adams tried to run, but was dragged backward across the floor. In her panic, she grabbed a sharp piece of broken toy block and drove it hard into the alien's head. Whether the alien was simply too fragile or it was the legendary heroine Aura, it was somehow defeated by her. The next day, when Adams woke from her unconsciousness and saw the wounds on her body along with the alien's lifeless body lying on the floor, she finally realized that everything that happened yesterday had truly occurred. With the house's power and communication systems completely disabled and her car mysteriously damaged, Adams had no choice but to ride her bicycle into town to seek help. On the way, she saw an overturned delivery truck, with the driver nowhere in sight, and a nearby wooden cabin appeared to have been violently attacked. Furniture and doors were scattered everywhere, and the house was completely empty, while several strange circles had appeared on the lawn outside. Although Adams didn't know exactly what had happened, she could sense that something was terribly wrong. She quickened her pace and ran all the way to the police station in the center of town, only to run into Maud's parents the moment she pushed open the door. Maud's father, the town's sheriff, and the rest of her parents' faces darkened the moment they saw Adams, and before she could explain, Maud's mother spat on her, while the other officers ignored her completely. Shunned by the entire police station, Adams had no choice but to leave in frustration. Composing herself, she prepared to take the bus home, wearing a hat and sunglasses to avoid being recognized. As the camera pulled back, the view revealed that strange circles had appeared on the lawns all across the town. As the bus moved along, a man from the back row suddenly started walking toward Adams. Sensing something was wrong, she prepared to get off at the next stop, but just as she stood up, the man grabbed her shoulder. She saw his throat bulging and shifting unnaturally while emitting strange gurgling noises. In that instant, Adams realized he had been taken over by an alien parasite, and she quickly shoved him away and ran toward the front. But he wasn't the only one. Several others on the bus had also been infected, and for reasons unknown, they were all relentlessly chasing after her. The driver caught sight of the chaos in the rearview mirror and immediately slammed on the brakes, sending the man crashing to the floor from the force. Taking advantage of the moment, Adams leapt off the bus and ran straight toward the nearby cemetery. She had hoped to find help from the caretaker, but the small house was empty and the door locked tight. Without realizing it, Adams wandered to Maud's grave. Overwhelmed by the day's events, tears of helplessness streamed down her face. Suddenly, a massive dark cloud drifted in from the distance, roiling with flashes of purple lightning, as if something terrifying was hidden within it. Seeing this, Adams rushed back toward her home. On the way, she noticed the townspeople raising their arms high as if summoning something, while strange creatures writhed in their throats, producing guttural gurgling noises. It was clear they too had been taken over by the aliens. With their movements, the ominous dark cloud spread further, slowly engulfing the entire town. As if sensing her gaze, the crowd suddenly turned their heads in unison, staring at her with lifeless eyes. Startled, Adams quickened her pace to escape. When she finally returned home, she found the alien's corpse still lying on the floor, but something appeared to be crawling out of its mouth, with slimy residue trailing all the way to the door outside. From this, it became clear that the aliens were likely nothing more than hosts for an even greater unknown creature, one that had traveled to Earth through their ships with the sole purpose of parasitizing humans to dominate the planet. Realizing there was no turning back, Adams prepared for a final showdown with the invaders. She lit every light in the house, boiled several pots of hot water on the gas stove, and sealed every door and window with whatever tools she could find. Once everything was ready, she waited for the enemy to come. As night fell, her makeshift door suddenly burst open, and a beam of blue light shot into the room, slowly pulling the alien's corpse upward and out of the house. Adams hid in the basement, with an alien close behind, and the two circled a table in a tense game of cat and mouse. After a turn, Adams suddenly spun around, only to find the alien standing right behind her, silently watching. She raised a pair of scissors to defend herself, but with a simple motion, the alien knocked them out of her hand. Just as Adams was about to be captured, the photo she held of herself and Maud caught the alien's attention, and it snatched the picture from her, staring at it intently. Adams bolted upstairs, but before she could even catch her breath, the alien from the basement had already chased her down. Pinned hard against the floor with nowhere to escape, she bit the alien fiercely, causing it to cry out in pain and loosen its grip. Seizing the chance, Adams grabbed the boiling water from the stove and dumped several pots over it, leaving the alien powerless to fight back. Just as she was about to deliver a final blow, a ghostly blue beam of light shot back into the house, pulling the iron pot against the wall with an unbreakable force. Adams struggled to pry it loose, but after several failed attempts, she had no choice but to abandon her weapon. The alien struck a bizarre, triumphant pose as it stepped through the beam of light, while Adams, ignoring her fear, slipped back inside and shut the door. A moment later, a pair of gray hands punched straight through the wood, and in an instant the alien appeared before her as if it had teleported. Grabbing a mop nearby, Adams fought back fiercely, but the alien split the mop head clean off with a single strike. Staring at its arrogant stance, Adams lashed out in desperation, driving the sharp mop handle forward with all her strength. By sheer misfortune for the alien, the wooden shaft pierced straight through its throat, pinning it to the cabinet, and Adams managed to kill it. But it was far from over. Outside the house, a third alien was already prepared, commanding a possessed man to drag Adams beneath the spaceship before summoning a beam of white light, intending to take her away for experimentation. Adams struggled violently and broke free, then launched a flying kick that sent the man reeling, only for him to be caught midair by the beam. Realizing they had seized the wrong person, the alien stopped its action, giving Adams the chance to turn and flee, with the third alien chasing close behind. This time, its long legs gave it the advantage. Before Adams could even reach her front door, the alien had already scrambled up onto the roof. Panicked, Adams dove into her car, with the alien squeezing in right after her, but its massive body got stuck halfway through the window, unable to move. In the struggle, it crushed the fuel tank, spilling gasoline everywhere. A sudden idea struck Adams. She pulled out her lighter and set the fuel ablaze. With a thunderous explosion, the third alien was reduced to ashes. Just as Adams thought it was finally over, a strange beam of light descended once again, and a fourth alien appeared. This one didn't rush to seize her, but instead began sifting through the photos and letters scattered around the room. Adams tried to launch a sneak attack from behind, but the alien easily flung her aside, then summoned a crimson beam that pinned her to the ceiling. Through her daze, she saw the fourth alien roll its eyes back before vomiting out a writhing mass of tentacled parasite. Helplessly, Adam's mouth opened against her will as the creature forced its way down her throat. When she opened her eyes again, she was no longer in the nightmare, but lying in a warm bedroom, with sunlight streaming through the window in a gentle, comforting glow. Adams, believing everything she had just endured was only a nightmare, broke down in tears, overwhelmed with emotion. She went downstairs and saw Maud reaching out to her, bathed in a soft blue light. Despite the serene beauty of the scene, Adams instantly realized it was just an illusion crafted by the aliens. After whispering an apology to Maud, she forced her hand into her own throat to extract the parasite. The creature thrashed violently, struggling desperately, and it was only with the help of its companions that it finally managed to escape Adam's grasp. The aliens, failing with every other tactic, devised a new plan. Seeing that neither their fellow creatures nor human brutes could defeat Adams, they simply created a perfect clone of her. The duplicate seized the moment when Adams was momentarily distracted and stabbed her, thinking this would finally take her down, but Adams immediately retaliated, striking the clone in the neck. After losing 4 of their companions in succession, the aliens ultimately managed to capture Adams. Fascinated by her incredible endurance and unbreakable will, they began reading her memories, unlocking the deeply buried experiences she had kept hidden in her heart. It turned out that 10 years ago, Adams and Maud had been inseparable friends. One day, they had an argument, and Maud accidentally pushed Adams to the ground. In a fit of anger, Adams picked up a stone and threw it at Maud, inadvertently cutting her throat. After Maud's death, the townspeople all treated Adams as a murderer, ignoring her whenever they saw her, and Maud's parents despised her so intensely that they wished she were dead. This was why Adams had lived in isolation ever since her mother's passing. Burdened by such a painful past, it was no wonder Adams could not be hypnotized by the aliens. After understanding the depths of her inner desires, the alien reported the situation to its superiors. After a brief deliberation, they ordered Adams to be released. The spaceship then departed, and the surroundings returned to calm, as if the aliens had never been there. A few days later, Adams donned her most beautiful outfit and stepped outside. A scar from her battle with the aliens still marked her forehead. As she walked, a few neighbors were repairing their homes. She smiled and greeted them, and they returned warm, friendly smiles. Everything seemed just as beautiful as she had described in her letters. But if we look closely, we can see parasites still wriggling in the throats of these people, showing that they have already been taken over by the aliens. That night, the town held a grand ball, and Adams danced happily in the center of the floor. As the camera pulled back, countless UFOs hovered over the town. The aliens had already taken control of the entire place, leaving Adams as the only person fully aware. And with that, the story comes to an end. It must be said that Adams' mental strength was extraordinary. She easily saw through the aliens' manipulations, and in the end, they could do nothing against her. So they built for her an ideal town, allowing her to live there willingly. Knowing full well that everything around her was an illusion, the heroine chose to immerse herself in this fantasy, having endured a lifetime of isolation and helplessness. In a way, it was a form of compromise.